What's going on, everyone? Scott here. Welcome back to the channel. So, Survivor Season 49, we are at episode 8, and this is the first episode post-merge. We merged last episode at the first, tribal council vote out in the merge, and Savannah, Sophie, and Rizzo were all left out of the vote as one of their allies, Matt, ended up going home as the first member of the jury. Now, the lines were kind of drawn in the sand. We'll see if they stay there or if they fade away. But before you jump into this episode, if you could, just hit that like and subscribe button down there. A little more Survivor 49 content on the channel, so just make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a video. So jumping back in, back at camp, Joanne is ecstatic that they pulled off this big move early on here in the game post-merge, and feels good from starting the game at the bottom, kind of, he felt like, to having this moment at the merge. Steven is ecstatic as well with the 7 that are working together against Sophie, Savannah, and Rizzo, who have felt like they were pretty much running to the game to this point. Sophie's trying to do damage control from writing down Steven's name, and Alex assures her that everyone's going after Savannah and Rizzo, not her currently, but MC is kind of doing damage control as well with some people that were mad about not telling them about her idol that she played last tribal, which she didn't need to, but don't blame her, just wanting to assure herself getting through this vote. But the theme so far continues with doing damage control, and this time it's Joanne doing some damage control with Rizzo, even though he doesn't have any intention of working with him or Savannah. Feels like, maybe MC doesn't fully trust them if he told her the information about what was going to happen, who was going to be the vote, and whatnot, and she still played her idol, and on top of that, didn't tell him about it. That's kind of his reasoning there, not wanting to burn all the bridges. But Rizzo and Savannah talk about not being bitter and trying to work their way out of this situation. Going on to the next day, Alex gets a group together of Steven and Christina to go idol search hunting since MC played hers obviously the night before. The reasoning is they're saying it's not an aggressive search, it's we're trying to block Rizzo, Sophie, or Savannah from getting it, and I hate when Survivor is kind of played like this, where it's like, it's so clearly like a certain group or player or group of people, should I say, are at the bottom per se, and it's like, oh, we are just doing everything so they don't get it. We're not going to play Survivor. We're just going to do everything so they don't get a certain advantage or win something. Like, I hate when Survivor's played like that. Not saying everything needs to be even. There's going to be alliances. There's going to be people at the bottom, people at the top, people in the middle. That's how the game's played, but I hate the reasoning for it. If they just said, yep, we're just going out for the idol because, we're an alliance and we want to know where the idol is, would like that better. Don't like the reasoning being so they don't get it. Christina does find the idol, who is our winner pick still, and she's still going strong in this game. Steven and Joanne are happy with, where they're kind of at, and Steven wants to get Savannah out next is kind of the theme of, pretty much where a lot of people are at right now. Joanne agrees as well, and he says his worst nightmare is Savannah the Savage. Sage talks with Sophie, trying to rebuild trust as, she's someone that she would maybe like to work with. And Sage tells her that she feels like Savannah has been kind of picking on her. Sophie said that she's not attached to her. And Sophie's like, let's take control of the game. And this is Blue Sophie, by the way. We still have the 2 Sophies, Blue Sophie, Yellow Sophie. But this was Blue Sophie. Sage says, I could be a mean girl too. Basically, because she was saying Savannah was being mean to her, picking on her. She's like, I could be a mean girl too. And at the water well, Savannah asks Sage what they plan on doing next, and both Sage kind of asks the same question to her, and they're both like, I don't know, no idea. So awkward moment there, to say the least. Savannah says that she's painting me as a victim, but she's the one with the knife, so Savannah thinks it's been her that has been leaving her out of, conversations and strategy and whatnot. And Savannah does get emotional talking about, in her confessional and talking with Steven about a situation where at work she was brought in onto a team, and people thought that she took someone else's job, and they would only talk to her on camera, but behind her back, and not really behind her back, when she could still hear, people would talk about her and not be nice to her at all, essentially, and so it messed up her hormones and everything. It literally impacted the rest of her life. So this being out on the bottom per se right now brings up some trauma for her. We head to the immunity challenge, and it is quite a big one with a lot at stake. It's going to be a twist, randomly divided into 2 groups of 5. The winning group gets immunity and will not go to tribal council. The losing 5, no one is safe and everyone goes to tribal council, plus the person that lasts the longest overall earns an advantage, and you're playing for a reward as well. The reward, the winning five, get do-it-yourself deli sandwiches and chocolate chip cookies. We do the divide, and blue is going to be Sage, Rizzo, MC, Jawan, and Sophie. Yellow then being Steven, Christina, Sophie, and Savannah. And Sophie, blue Sophie is on yellow, and yellow Sophie is on blue. Weird contrast there, but that's where we're at. But let's just say this was a battle. What a battle. Came down to a head-to-head showdown, essentially between yellow Sophie, that was on blue for this challenge, and Savannah, who was seemingly at the bottom this episode. And Savannah gets it done, stops Sophie from going back to back to open up this merge portion of the game. So that means Sage, Rizzo, MC, Jawan, and Sophie, yellow Sophie, after she just put up an incredible fight, will be going to Tribal Council tonight. Now, you'd think that Rizzo's at the bottom, just kind of looking at the divisions and where kind of everyone was after last Tribal Council, but he does have an item. Now, this group is going to a different beach as well. They arrive at the beach. Sophie is trying to bring in Sage, MC, and Jawan to get Rizzo out. So Sophie comes up with a plan with Jawan and Sage to tell Rizzo that it's going to be Sophie. Sophie tells them, because of his idol, tell him that it's going to be Sophie. Use the excuse that, she's been right there in the challenges and, is a threat, whatnot. And then they can vote for Rizzo. Now, Jawan and Sage talk to Rizzo and kind of talk about rebuilding trust in a sense. And Rizzo is like, coming in 10th or coming in 4th isn't much difference to me. I came here to win. And Sophie tells MC that she can throw one vote on Jawan just in case. Now, this is a big moment because now MC returns the trust to Jawan, who didn't feel good about MC not telling him about her idol last episode, tells him that Sophie was going to put a vote on him. So that obviously sets off alarm bells for Jawan. Now for some lighter moments, though, to get away from this portion, we head to the reward. And it's where Savannah, Alex, Christina, and Sophie enjoying their sandwiches, chocolate chip cookies, and they all pretty much think that Sophie will go home. So kind of what seems like could be the way the tide is turning over on the other beach currently because she's such a big threat. Savannah heads off to get her advantage at Tree Mail. Her advantage is first off, she gets her immunity necklace, but she can join the other group and cast a vote as well. But the key also is, too, that she can either vote in this tribal or she can save that vote as an extra vote for later on. So she heads off, gets on the vote, and Savannah the Savage is on the way. And seeing the other 4 members from the reward that she was on, being like, why is she on the boat? And she's like just waving like, bye. But back at the camp that is going to tribal, Jawan tells Sage that Sophie was planning on putting a vote on him. So they talk about getting Sophie out instead. Sage is still on the vote of wanting to keep the vote on Rizzo. Sage tells Sophie, though, that Jawan is out because MC told him about her plan. Sophie's like, well, there it goes. Bad day gets even worse. But she tries to make up for that. She goes, talks to Jawan, and says that she's sorry and that she thought MC had her back and was really forthcoming with him, which I think, can only be good for her. And at this point, don't know if it'll work when you throw someone's name out there, especially this small a tribe getting this close to tribal council. But this is all just in time for Savannah to show up on the vote. And she said she's coming in like the Grim Reaper, and Savannah fills them in on the advantage, but leaves out the part that she just tells Rizzo that she can save her vote. Rizzo excited and willing to possibly take the risk of not playing his idol. Because he's like, if we can get through this, we're at 10 right now, if we can get to 9, and them two being as close as they are, they can get through, he has his idol, and Savannah can get through without using her extra vote as well, they're sitting at 9 with an idol and an extra vote as well. Sitting pretty good heading into the later stages of this game. And now Savannah does have the info that the other tribe, seemed like that Sophie was going to go home. So they're like, what if we just bring her in if other people are seeing her as a threat? So Rizzo starts to plant the seeds to get MC out. Works his RIZGOD magic, can't believe I just said that, with Sage and Jawan. Tries to at least. And Rizzo talks with Sophie as well about going to vote MC. She's not sure if she's going to go that route or if it's like, hey, let's just put 4 on Rizzo. MC and Sophie are talking, and MC says that she feels some weird energy with her and even asks her if she's writing her name down. Sage is like, it's so hard to get on the same page as everyone. I don't even know if I'm reading the same book as everyone. But it's time to head to tribal council. Sophie is like, what a difference a day can make. Yesterday, I was sitting just like Savannah is right now, immunity necklace around my neck, and just had a meal and everything. Now you look at 24 hours later, complete flip. Jeff asks if tribal lines are still there and still kind of a thing. They say with Savannah coming in, it feels like an old tribes division type of vote. Jeff brings up about Rizzo's idol, and Rizzo says he wasn't really asked about his idol, which could that just mean they're trying to not mention it to throw it under the radar so he doesn't play it and blindside him? He's aware of that possibility, but Sophie says, let me cut to the chase. It's me or MC. MC and Sophie defend themselves against each other as well. Kind of a crazy flip if we aren't being played, I guess. MC gets up to talk to Juwan. We get a little bit of a live tribal here. Everyone's talking to each other. Sophie's kind of the last person to be brought into the mix in the conversation, but Juwan gets her in on the conversation, and we don't really hear any of the conversation, so don't really know what was said, but we get to the vote. Savannah doesn't vote. She saves it, so that's a key part there. Rizzo holds onto his idol and doesn't play it, and the way the other members kind of look at each other, tribe members kind of look at each other, it's like, don't know if that was the right move, but it turns out to be okay. MC goes home, and genuinely, in my opinion, well, first off, we'll finish up on MC here. One of the best, challenge beasts of the new era, especially. And I think she could have, if she got more opportunities in the individual portion, I think she could have definitely killed it and kept on, moving forward. So I think it was probably smart for them to get her out now, because I do think she could have got things rolling in that front with how dominant she's already been in that front in this game in the tribe portion. And now Rizzo still has his idol. Savannah has that extra vote as well going into the final 9. And genuinely, in my opinion, that was one of the best new era episodes. Kind of the twist, the way the challenge went. It was a good battle, a good twist with the advantage getting to add in there. Now, next week looks like another tough battle in the challenge, and it looks like Rizzo could be taking more control of the game. But anyway, that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace out.